Hey guys, as I'm editing this, I'm not recording. As you see, I'm editing it right now. I have background noise on because I'm bored. It's kind of great. He's awesome. But I'm watching this. I'm watching that and doing this. I noticed I completely started yapping. It's a pretty long video, and I want to I kind of want to decrease a lot of it. I don't want to take away a lot everything of it because it's something I wanted to do for kind of long. Show what I did and all that. As you see when you watch it. So I'm hitting off a lot of it. It's an hour video, I think, is what it was without editing. It's only 30-minute video. So here's the thing, and here's the shortened video. But I'm sorry for it being so long. And if you guys if you guys watch it, it's gonna really help me. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video I'm just going over what I use for when I fly fish. The rod I use is a Stealth all carbon rod that I bought off Amazon for $50, I think, and it is a 8-foot 5-weight rod, because that 5-weight is just what is mostly used down here, and 8-foot is better because there's a lot more trees here in this part of the country. And then the reel I use is a Aventic 5/6 weight rod and it's just a basic disc reel I bought off Amazon, because that's where I bought pretty much all my stuff, because it's just where I like to get all my stuff because it works well. The rod is a pure carbon rod, and then the reel is just just a basic reel. And then I have a 9-foot 5X leader. 5X is the average size that I like to use for all the trout that we use. It is just the most common, and because a lot of trout are scared of the line thickness, that's what I like to use. And it just helps the flies that I use, because I don't use a lot of heavy flies unless I'm streamer fishing. And then line I use is just some sky blue, some sky blue line, 5-weight float. And then what I use to keep all my stuff in is just a fly fishing vest that I got from Walmart. Nothing crazy, but it works, and it's nice, good quality stuff. The net I use is a Cortland rubber net. The reason I use rubber nets is because it just helps the fish's skin, fish's protective coating when you catch them. That's why I like to use these little nets. This net with the rubber nets. And then I have just a tippet holder, and I use 2 sets of tippets. Oh, this is also the net. Just a rubber Cortland net. I bought it from Walmart. The tippet I like to use is either Fairplay 5X or Fairplay 6X tippet. I use the 6X more when I'm going for small brook trout, or when I fish the Provo River, because the Provo River you have to use kind of tiny flies for the trout because they're picky, because they just get fished so much. And I have this pair of forceps, nothing crazy, with just a simple retractor, because I like to keep them on my chest just in case I do need them, not scavenging them. And then I have a pair of snippers, or clippers, everyone calls them snippers because they're weird, with just another basic retractor to help me keep it keep where I need it. And then I like to use gink, but a lot of people like to use
loom floating, but gink is just what's available and what I like to use because it works the best. And I just bought this simple little gink holder for my fly vest that just attaches to one of these. And this vest has like a little cotton strip that you can set your flies onto when you're tying them on or after you change them and you don't want to reach into your box again because you forget to put it in there. Done that a few times. And then the size of the box I use is a Sportsman's, nothing fancy, just a two-sided secured box that floats just in case it falls out of my vest when I'm fishing because I forget to set my thing up, which I have done that before, and it's not fun chasing your fly box down the river. Which this is what it looks like on that side, and this is what it looks like on the other side. And then the flies I have in it are just flies that I have tied. I like to keep mine a little weird. On top I have my caddies, my Elker caddies, and if I do tie them when I have them, mule deer caddies. And then it is a little messy because right now we just should go fishing not that long ago. And then next I have to have my compounder, which I actually do need to move them up. They're just down a lot lower. And then I have the half bake, which is an upcoming video that I will do. This is a caddis emerger. Here, there's a better view at it. It is a caddis emerger because I like to have the Elker caddies, and then I also like to have my caddis emergers, which I will do the video on how to tie this. Probably not tomorrow, but in the upcoming days when I get back to my house, because right now I'm not even at my house. I'm at a different place I'm not doing videos. I'm just kind of like more fishing and showing you guys what I catch. And so I decided to do a equipment review. That's why I'm doing this video. And then I like to have my Adams, which throughout my box I have just different styles of flies, which I do need to get another box to set my emergers and streamers in, because this side's double-sided, so I like to have my dry flies on one and then my nymphs on the other. But because I don't have two boxes, I just throw my emergers in here with it. And then the next ones I have that I use a lot when they're great is either Adams or an Adams parachute. Oh, and another fly I like to have in my box, this is just personal preference, is a Royal Wolf or a Royal Coachman, because those two seem to work just really well for what I like to do, which is fishing up in my mountain, the Uintas a lot. And then next I just have my personal favorite fly, the Renegade, and then right above that I don't have any right now, which I'll do a video on how later, same time as record probably same time as the half bake, which is right there, but I will not repost it at the exact same time, which is the Renegade and then the double Renegade. And that's just kind of what it looks like right now. I'm a little low on flies because I haven't had a butt ton of time to tie flies, because I've just been doing a lot of stuff like going to my county fair or just helping my dad with working on his vehicles and all that, or just helping around my house, cooking dinner and all that, because I like to help people whenever I can. That's my dry fly side and my emergers. And on my next side, I just have my nymphs, which they're a little messy right now because they're a little messy. Sorry, got my phone. They're a little messy right now because I grabbed a few the other day, and this is also where I set my streamers, because I need a different box for my streamers and my foam flies, my foam dry flies. But like at the beginning, I like to have my pheasant tails, and I like to have my show bugs, and then my brassy is actually one higher than I need it. But brassy is one of my favorite flies in the world because it works just amazing. And then of course you have your egg patterns. You always have an egg pattern on you is what I like to say. The egg pattern is just a fly that works a lot of times. If nothing really works, and it's great for when stuff are spawning, which is nothing really spawning right now. Which actually, this is a video I will go on over. This is it's one of my eggs I've had. These are some I just bought. The other ones are some I just bought over time from a long time ago. But this is one I tied, and I will actually go over a video on how to tie it in the coming future. And then right after that, I like to go my zebra midges, which I need a few more. But the zebra midge is, once again, just this very simple fly that works during the winter, spring, fall, it doesn't matter, because midges are always working. They're always doing something. They're like the annoying little brother a lot of people have. And then I just have, it's like another variation of a zebra midge. It's a little different. Some person where I was fishing when I first started actually gave me this, and this is just one I had left over time. And then after it just kind of goes my messy flies everywhere, which is just my streamers, because like I had a streamer box, but like I was fishing and I misplaced it and completely lost it. It had quite a few streamers in it that I tied over time. And then I just have my just simple foam flies that I like to use. Not necessarily down here, more like on the Green River or something is where I like to use them more. And then I also like to have just down here I bought some flies because I just didn't have that many flies. Maybe like tiny flies at first because I needed to get hooks. But in this, in this I have a few that I did tie over time, which they're just renegades. And I actually do have a Griffiths Grant on that, which is actually the most recent video I did on my channel, which was how to tie the Griffiths Grant. But in this, I just have like a Griffiths Grant and it's a black Grant parachute style, which is something that I use for like, not necessarily down on the Provo. If like I'm up in the mountains and there's a lot of ants I see going, I throw that. And then the next thing I use is this is just a nail knot, just in case like I do need to tie a nail knot. A lot of times I don't, because I have the other style of the tension knot, which is just the loops and loops that put together, which I'll show in a second. It's just a nail knot tool with an eyelet cleaner that it's really nice. And I also have, in the other one, I have just little gram sinkers. I think biggest one of this is 0.4 grams, 0.4 grams, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when you're fly fishing. And all these are really for is just to sink that fly down into the bottom, just in case you're not getting low enough and you don't want to change flies. What else do I need to go over? And then, like, I don't really like using them that much for when I don't really like using these kind of things when I nip fish, because I just have a hard time casting it. But they are like little thingamabobbers, is what they're actually called. If you don't believe me, you can search it up. These are little thingamabobbers, which I don't really like to use them that much. It's just something that I have. And then, like, I just have a spare gink on me a lot of times, because just in case your gink is being weird and not wanting to work. And then I think that's pretty much all I have. And these are some stuff I did buy that I really didn't need, which is some dry fly powder, which if you don't know how this works, you open it, and if you look inside, it is just powder. Just all powder. And how you do it is, if you're dry fly fishing and you're using like tiny dry flies, which I like to use a lot of times, you just put your fly in there and you close it and shake it, and it just powders your fly to like give it a couple of coat resistant casts to keep them really dry. And then like the next thing I bought is that leader I just was talking about, which I'll show in a second. And the next thing I did just most recently buy from my local fishing store down here is just 4 little simple flies. Nothing fancy. Actually, I'll dump it on the floor to show them better. The first one I have is actually became one of my most favorite flies. Is a corn-fed caddis. Which the corn-fed caddis is just a great fly. I've seen, like, I was using it up at State Line. And I mean, I caught a little rainbow trout. I caught tiger trout on it. I caught some brook trout on it. I even caught an Atlantic grayling on it, which was really fun to do because I've never caught one of those before. And then next is just a simple little elk hair caddy. I think this one is. It's just a little tiny elk hair caddy, size 20. I'm pretty sure is what that one was. And then this one is something that I want to start experimenting with and seeing if I do like it, I will tie them, which is a hackleless caddy. Which, if you don't know what a hackle is, if you don't tie flies or if you haven't tied flies and you buy flies that work, a hackle is what you wrap your feathers with, which is just off a chicken or something, or Malibu, and it just builds it's just kind of like helps your fly float. And this one is hackleless. And then the last fly we bought is I like to show it as like a reverse caddy, which has I think it has an elk hair tails with just tiny brown little hackle. Which those are what I bought. But one more fly that I did like, I was catching a lot of brown trout on down here, was a black elk hair caddy. Which, if you don't know what that is, I think I do have 1 or 2 in the box. I will show you what they are like very quick. Which I just don't, they're not like truly black elk hair caddies. But what it is it's an elk hair caddy just with a black body and black hackle. I don't have black hackles, so what I like to use is just either very white hackle or a grizzly hackle, which I'm loading raw on grizzly hackle, so I need to get more. I know, sad. And then the last one I have is I forgot what this one's called, but I bought it quite a long time ago, but I started using them not too long ago, which they work really well. I caught a brown trout on it yesterday, but it was being a really complicated fish, so I just kind of like got it unhooked and took it out. It was like fighting so much and just wanting to get out of the net. So that's why I just I don't have a photo to post. Sorry guys. And the last thing I did buy is just some yarn indicators. Because I like to use yarn. I started using it not too long ago. And these are actually a tad big for what I like to do. But they're alright. It's just in case I like nymph fish or something. This is what I like to throw to see if a fish takes it over the thingamabobbers, because they're lighter and easier to cast for me. And actually, I'm going to set up the fly rod and showing you what it looks like all set up. And actually, it's pretty late, so tomorrow I'll show you what it casts like. And one thing I do want to get to like start recording my fishing part is a chest mount. I don't have one of those. That's why I haven't recorded any of my fishing adventures, which I actually want to start doing. Which I am going to get a chest mount ordered pretty soon to start doing that. But I will show you what it looks like made with all the line through it and a fly tied to it, because I do need to get that set up, so I'm not doing it later on the river. And I might even go over how to tie the blood knot, because a lot of people have complications with that fly. Complications with that knot, sorry. Which I use 2 knots to tie from my leader to my tippet, which is the blood knot, which I've seen just works a tad better. But if I'm on a rush and I want to get right back up to fishing, I use the triple surgeon's knot, which I've seen breaks your line a little easier than the blood knot, but works just as well. So I will get back to you guys when the rod is set up with a fly tied on it, and then tomorrow I will show you what it looks like casting. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, this is what the rod looks like with it lined up, which is kind of like blue line that goes through it,
which if you don't know, actually, the blue line is called your fly line. Which this is like a little backstory of fly line. A fly reel is how it's set up. It goes backing, which is 20-pound, like kind of braided line. It's just a little different. It's like thinner and a little more fine, so it doesn't break as fast when there's a lot of tension. It can break. It's more rope than braid. And then it goes to your fly line, which your fly line is just, the fly line is what actually casts your fly. Because your flies actually don't weigh anything. They're actually a weightless thing. So how you have to cast them is with this fly line, because you use such a long rod. And the fly line, how I like to explain it, is a weightless weight thing. Which, if that doesn't make sense, it doesn't really make sense to me. It's how I like to describe it. It's just like rubber, pretty much. And if you've ever thrown rubber, it throws pretty far. It's just very, very fine rubber with a hole in the middle for float. And if you have sink it, it has like a little material on it. I don't have sink in line, so I don't actually really know. So I'm just kind of going off a guess. But it's more just a clear, it's more just like a tube, a rubber tube, tiny little thin rubber tube that goes to that. That's what it looks like kind of like lined up, guys, if you're curious. Then, of course, next is the leader, which I was talking about, which I just bought from the store, which is a 9-foot 5X leader. And when I was talking about, you can either use the clinch knot, not a clinch knot, sorry, the nail knot, or I like to call it a tension knot, but it's not really a tension knot. It's more just like, it is actually kind of tension. It's just a weird way to do tension. Which, when you buy like a good leader, all leaders are good. Just a more expensive leader, they have like a pre-made loop. And when you have good quality fly line, it actually comes with a pre-made loop in it. Which you can't see it in this one because it's, of course, covered with the thing. It's nothing huge, tiny to slide your line through. This is 9 foot, and if you don't know how leaders work, they're tapered leaders, so it's not truly line. It is more like kind of like very thin, fine paper, which they go from thick down to very, very thin line. Because this one is a 9 foot, you can get 7 foot or 12 foot. It's like when I Euro nymph, which I need to get a new Euro nymph because my other one broke, sadly. When I Euro nymph, I have it's actually a pretty long leader, and then I temp it on top of it, so it's really, really long. But it's a very fun way to fish. And actually, I will go over how to do the blood knots right now. Alright, what you do at the start is you get your tippet. I'm using 6X tippet because I'm, of course, casting very, very tiny flies, and you need tiny line to fit through the hole of the fly. And I like to use about a foot and a half sometimes. Since I have a longer leader, I actually like to use a little less than a foot. But because I have a 9-foot leader, I'm going to use a foot. Just a foot of tippet. And then you just find the end of your leader, which I like to just hold apart and then just kind of drag through. And then you grab the end of both your line. It's hard to see because they're clear. I know, sorry. And then, since I'm a fisherman, it's always like, you're supposed to have a third hand pretty much for fishing. But we're humans, and we only have 2 hands. So my third hand is always, of course, my mouth, which you will hear a lot of people say that. And how you do the blood knot is you just you cross them, make an X pretty much with your tippet and leader. And then you just start wrap one way 4 times. But if you're using tiny line like I'm doing, I actually like to go 5. There's 4. And there's 5. And then you put it back to where it begins, which sometimes it doesn't
they're a little annoying. It doesn't like to work all the time because they're flies. It's fly fishing. Fly fishing is a complicated thing. But when you do, it should look kind of like that at the beginning, and then you wrap the other strand of line. Sorry, mine undid itself. You wrap the other strand of line four times or more. I think I'll just do 4 because I did 5 on the other one. 2, 3, 4. And then if you look, it's hard to see, but they kind of make like a little like lump. You put it in. Then I like to kind of like hold that where it's kind of like, it makes it kind of like that sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's all right. It's just like kind of how I do it that makes it look like that. I like to hold both the tag ends and then hold the line. And I like to kind of like grab the tag ends with my mouth because I can pull a little stronger with my mouth. And just kind of pull them together. And that's actually that's a blood knot right there. And you just snip it, or since it's a very thin line, I like to bite it. And for the fly I tie on, I'm actually going to tie on this reverse caddis, which is just elk hair body with like, it has like little tentacle, like little, not tentacles, it's more like, actually I don't know if I'm going to tie on that one. I want to tie on the corn-fed one. Sorry, they like fell off my lap and I'm having a hard time finding them. I'll get right back to you when I find the flies. Okay, guys, so I have my corn-fed caddis, which I said is one of my favorite flies anymore, just from how I've been, like, how it's been performing and how it's been working on how it's been working for what I like to do. And like, when you see a fly, it has a very tiny hole. And depending on where you get your fly, if it's gonna have like glue at the head of it, so you have to poke a hole. But from my local fly shop, they don't. It's in that world, it just looks like that hanging on your line. And the knot I like to do, my family calls it the seven loop knot, which actually, that's what we call it because we just kind of like rush through things. Which how you do it, but it's actually called the clinch knot, which a lot of people know it by, or the fisherman's knot. How you do it is, you just wrap your tag end 7 times around the main line. And then if you do it how I do, want to put a finger in it, you get left with that big loop, which you put your tag end through that hole. Don't pull it immediately though, because when you do it correctly, you get left with another hole, and you just put and then you put your tag in through that hole and pull tightly. And that's just how I like to do my flies. Some people do it different. I've just seen that's like the most simple and quick way to do it. That's why I like to do it like that. And if I'm just running a single dry fly, what I do first is I put my gink, and then after a dozen or so casts, I start using my powder. But if I'm not just using a dry fly, I would tip it on to the bend of my hook using a 7-loop knot again. Then I would secure a nymph or an emerger, depending on how you like to use, depending on what you like to use at the end of your fly. That's what you'd use. I might do that tomorrow if I'm just catching them on, not catching a lot of fish off one fly. I will throw my half bake emerger on, which is, of course, one of my favorite. A good fly that I've been starting to use quite a lot. But, like, this video is not quite done yet. Which I will actually start probably recording the other part in a little bit. And I always like to pull my line before I even, like, try catching a fish with it. Because just what happened right now is my knot wasn't good enough. And just with even a little bit of pounds going on it, my line snapped. Sorry, I can't get that through because it's annoying. Sorry, guys. Which I will record the rest of this video later. But, like, I saw, it's an old timer that actually started helping me start catching fish out of the Provo River down here. How he did it with his dry flies is he actually threw a yarn indicator on. These ones are more of like this mossy green color. He had a clear white one so I could see it a little later because for some reason they're weird here. They like jump, middle of summer they jump a little later at night, but in the day they don't. They jump like normal fish later in the year, coming towards fall. Which he actually put this on, just in case you couldn't see his fly all the way. Just in case he couldn't see his fly, he would just like make sure that fly stays really, really dry. Which is kind of what the powder's for, and your gink. And you throw this, and if you saw something jump right behind his indicator, which in this case is yarn, you can use whatever you like. I like yarn. He would set the hook, and I think I watched him catch 3 or 4 fish, and he said he actually caught like 10 or 15 that day when I asked him. So, and like, don't be afraid if you're first getting into fly fishing. Don't be afraid to ask for help. To do anything, like if you need help casting or. Sorry guys, I had to do something real quick, and then I kind of forgot to record it when I was doing this because I thought I was. But like as I was saying, he did this with his dry flies. I like to always, like when I set my nymph thing, I like to always have mine a lot longer or a lot shorter depending on what I'm fishing, how I'm fishing. Which I think this one I have about 3 feet before my thing. And actually, when I was doing that, I pulled my line, and like it just happened to get my line just kind of popped out because it's annoying. And it's fly line, so it's like has to be complicated. But like, I like to have like 3 feet so, and I'm just drilling like that to a dry fly. Which, if you do this and it doesn't work like out for you too well, don't have to do it. I do it because it works for me. And even if like something I did, because the day that he showed me that I didn't actually have my yarn. I just went and bought these yarn indicators because all the ones I had got lost. I don't know what I misplaced them somewhere. Cannot remember. So what I did is I actually just went to a tree, peeled off some leaves, and attached it to my leader.
And me back again. I'm editing this again. I'm still editing. I just recorded that part. I told you at the beginning. It's like a very long video, as I was saying. Like, I did do the ending and talked about some stuff. And like, what I really talked about was like saying this isn't just a fly fishing channel. I did want it to be this at first, but like I said, I'm gonna like start hunting it, and like coming in like the end of the year, I do a lot more stuff like for school and hunting and all that's gonna take a lot more of my time, so I can't just fish and watch, or I can't just do videos. So like there's gonna be shorter videos, and like I don't want, and like I think I did the outro like 3 times in this on it. As you see, it's like 12 minutes. But like I'm gonna delete all that because I did like cut this like most important parts out that I liked. and like what another thing it talked about was something like if you need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. Fly fishing or even in anything, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. But that's all. Thank you guys for watching the video. I'm like, really grateful you did. Thank you for watching. If you guys would like to, please like and subscribe the video because it really helps me out. I want to do this as a full-time job coming in the later coming years after I'm like out of high school because it's something I love to do and I like sharing what I do with my life to you guys. It's something I like. So, but like, thank you so much for watching, and like I hope I catch you guys in another video if you guys would like, or even if you want to go to my channel and watch like me tie flies or even like my short videos. Thank you. All right, bye.